Hello, sisters. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast, weaving powerful, soulful practices into functional medicine. Step into this beautiful space of devotion and explore everything from nurturing foods, rituals, sexuality, and awakening your innate sensuality. It is time to own your radiance. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Hello and welcome back to another week of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Margaret Romero, and this week I have Andrea Owen. She's an author, mentor, and certified life coach. She helps high-achieving women let go of perfection, control, and isolation, and choosing courage and confidence instead. She's helped thousands of women manage their inner critic to create loving connections and live their most kick-ass life. She is the author of the new book that is just coming out, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit, 14 Habits That Are Holding You Back from Happiness. So we are going to be diving into this book today. And there's so many really cool topics here because, there were so many things in here that I thought, oh, you know what? I am very strong and I am very maybe at times hyper independent. And so we really talk about these things, qualities that women who are overachievers, completely passionate, entrepreneurs, people that have their own businesses, we are strivers and thrivers. And I wanted to really dig into this book and say, hey, well, wait a minute. Are there some downsides, though, to being a little hyper independent? And maybe there are some downsides to being like too strong and not accepting help. And so it was really interesting. We had a great conversation also about, I love saying that I give zero fucks about things, certain things, what people think about what I wear, what I do. She, likes astrology, but she also graduated from Columbia, like as if I, can't inhabit both animals in my body. And so I love giving zero fucks, but there's also a downside to giving zero fucks. Too much of not giving a fuck about things. There's also downsides. So we really talk about some of these things that are seemingly really in our lives as empowered women. And we kind of need to look at, opening up for help and stop being so freaking hyper independent. You know what I mean? So hope you enjoy this conversation and on to the show. This week's guest is Andrea Owen. She is the author of How to Stop Feeling Like Shit, 14 Habits That Are Holding You Back from Happiness. Andrea, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Margaret. And I love how dramatically you read that title. I'm like, ooh, I want to read that. You have a great voice, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. So I love the title of this book. And tell me what prompted you to write this?
Yeah, it was pretty specific. I wrote another book and came out in 2014. And as many authors do, I think, when I wrote that, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm creatively tapped out. There is nothing more I have to say in personal development. And as in the writing world, some authors say we don't find books, books find us. And that's definitely what happened with this. But more specifically, I started to really pay attention around 2014 to my audience and my clients and what kind of patterns I was seeing over and over again. And personally, I could relate to a lot of these things. These weren't behaviors that I had mastered by any means. These were things that I felt like we were all doing. And when I would talk to my clients about these patterns and these habits and behaviors, I would always say the same thing. I would say, these are the things that we do because we know how to do them well, and they work for a little while, and there are coping mechanisms, and we think that they're protecting us, but at the end of the day, they're making us feel like shit because they're out of alignment with our values and who we really want to be. So that was sort of the birth of it, and I saw a handful of behaviors, and then when I really sat down to pay really close attention, it was more than that, and I came up with 14.
Okay. Well, there's definitely several in here that I kind of want to unpack because, to be honest with you, there were some that were like, oh my God, this is so me. And so this, and, there's like two sides, I guess, to everything. So let me start with the first one, and that's being strong. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's talk about this because, you know, one of the reasons why I created this podcast was to help empower women, to help them
Mm-hmm.
be strong.
Yeah.
And I feel that in my circle of girlfriends, when I attract strong women into my life, I feel there's definitely a part of me that's like, I got this. Nope, I can do this. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to reach out for help. There's definitely a part of me that totally does that because I feel that I'm, this empowered woman who I make shit happen, and I would love to hear. So, like, the downsides of being this way, there's definitely downsides, obviously, to not asking for help and so on and so forth. So, I'd love to hear your take.
Yeah, and I love that you said that there's definitely two sides. And I want to preface this by saying, there's actually a saying in the rooms of recovery. I've been sober for 6+ years now, and there's a lot of sayings in recovery. And one of them is it works until it doesn't. And I think that being strong is one of those things. I think I am all for being strong. I identify with exactly what you said. I'm one of your people. I get through stuff. And I think that the downside of that is that we romanticize this hyper independence and this quality of being so strong that we don't need anybody. I don't need no man.
Right.
Like,
Right.
watch me do this all by myself. And I am like raising my hand over here too. I think that where it sort of crosses the line into not working for us anymore is when we find ourselves in anywhere on the spectrum of being in struggle or being in crisis. And we maybe have that thought, like, maybe I could reach out to someone. And for some women, the thought doesn't even cross their mind they don't even consider reaching out for help. But maybe if you do consider it, you might then, the next thought might be, well, I don't want to bother Margaret. She's got way too much on her plate right now. Or you might be embarrassed or ashamed of where you're at and think, I don't want to share that story because it is just too, I can't bear to tell someone else the story. Or, I can get through this on my own. I've gotten through worse. And that might be fine. And I'm using like air quotes over here.
Right.
But we need each other. And I'm talking about the right people. We get to a point in our lives where we just become exhausted and we need community to help us through the hard times and the struggle. That's more what I'm talking about.
So true. So true. But for someone like me, so if some shit is going down in my life, I first try to sort of deal with it on my own. My first thing is not to reach out to anyone. And sometimes for some people, like, the first thing they have to do is like reach out to someone or call someone or text someone. For me, I'm like, oh shit, okay, the shit is hitting the fan. It's like I'm internally getting the troops together. Like, I'm handling it on my own. And then when I feel like, okay, I think I got this, and then that's when I lean in. I don't lean in before, like when it's happening sometimes, because I don't know why.
I think I might know why. I think that we as women have grown up in a culture where we have learned really well how to try, or maybe even succeeded at it, to engineer our life to look a certain way. Because, and many of us are unconscious to it. I know I was for a long time. And again, Margaret, I'm not saying that this is you. I'm just saying could possibly be that. Okay, let me back up for a second. In some of the work that I do, and this has been a life-changing exercise, if you will, that when you really sit down and think about the ideal and unwanted identities that you have in any certain area of your life. So let's take, for example, your partnership. And maybe something happened in your partnership and you are really struggling in it. And the thing is that usually unconsciously for us, we have ways that we want to be perceived by our friends, for instance, around your partnership. I hope to God I'm explaining this well.
Okay. Yeah.
And when we are at risk for not being seen in that way, so like maybe you want to be seen as, that you have a great relationship, that things are healthy, things are good, you work problems out. So when you are at risk for not being seen that way by anyone, that's a shame trigger. And the thing is like, whether you know these identities or not, these ways that you want to be perceived by other people and the unwanted identities that you would never want to be perceived by other people, that is, whether you know those or not, they're running our lives. So it can be helpful to know what they are. So the reason I explain all of that is because there might be a way that you want to be perceived by other people, whether it's your friends or your partner or your listeners or whatever. And then when you're at risk for not falling into that, that's when the voice tells you, oh, just handle it on your own. You'll be fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, because I think I prefer for people to see me as being able to handle it all.
Yeah. I prefer that too.
I think most of us do. Right. And there was definitely a period in time during the summer that I did reach out to my girlfriends. My father had been in the hospital. He was in the ICU. He wasn't doing well. He's better today, so he's fine. Thank God. But there was definitely a time where and I'm also an empath, so it was really getting to me in such a deep way that I didn't know how to handle what I was experiencing in my body and the emotions that were coming up and that I was being flooded with. And I literally, it was about, 8:00 at night on a Sunday. I reached out to one girlfriend. She lives in the city. And then she reached out to my other two girlfriends that also live in the city. And they drove up to the hospital in Connecticut. And they were there for me for a few hours. And I had never done that before. But to know that that was available to me was so profound. And it was so beautiful that they even showed up. And, in the middle of like their Sunday evening of just like chilling at home. Here I call, like completely losing my shit on the other end of the phone. And they just came to me.
I love that story with all of my heart because that is trust and love and intimacy and connection right there. What a gift that you gave your friends so that they could show up. I know it's kind of been a theme for me as well is, and I think a lot of people listening can relate to this. And we've been betrayed by people. We've been brokenhearted. You get to a certain age and it just is what happens in your life. We have people who have not met our expectations. So what ends up happening is for many of us, we put these walls up and we just don't, people are not to be trusted. Nobody's going to show up for us, or, they're too busy, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But what I have been trying to focus on in my own work is the whole concept of let people love you, let people show up for you. Because as strong women, we hold it as a badge of honor that we can get through it on our own.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't
Totally.
about asking for counsel or things like that. That is like exactly what you just described. Reaching out when things are really hard and you just need people to sit with you through that pain. They're not there to fix it. They're not there to, strategize your self-care or anything. They're just about bearing witness to your pain. Nobody's words are going to fix what's going on with you. It's their presence that makes the difference.
Yeah. It was really a godsend. It was what I needed exactly at that moment. And it was, yeah. So I could have totally not done anything. And then I
or
don't
told
know.
them afterwards. Yeah. When you were a little bit better.
Right. But I reached out in the midst of it, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I just felt like I needed to, and I needed to hear a friendly voice on the other end of the line, and I needed someone there because everyone already had gone home, like all my family. It was they had been there during the day, and I was there alone, and I'm like, I cannot be here right now, and I didn't want to go home either because I didn't want to leave him in the ICU by himself. So, it was, I didn't know where else to turn. And it was just a beautiful example of sisterhood. So it was great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sure. No problem. So that leads me to the next one, which is, and this may be the same concept, but being hyper independent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that in that chapter, it's like honorary mention of hyper independent, and it's really sort of it's kind of twin sister of those women who are hyper independent are typically the ones who struggle around control, overachieving, and the whole concept of being strong. So, and it takes one to know one. Again, but I think a lot of it stems from we are ambitious, driven, smart women. And it has worked for us for a long time. I think for many of us, those behaviors that I just mentioned have fed us success. Personally, I graduated with honors from college because I was an overachiever. And I don't think that those things are necessarily bad. I think that they definitely, there's a line that gets crossed where we shut people out and we want to do everything on our own. And we are afraid of what might happen if we let people in, if we make those phone calls like you just described, and we show people, hey, I can't do this all on my own. I do need help. And so I think that's the question I have for listeners. If you are that woman, the overachiever, et cetera, yay, like I applaud you. And is it negatively affecting your life? I think that, I think everyone has a different pain tolerance, physical pain and emotional pain. And I think for my people, it's when you get to a point where you know that it's not serving you anymore, or you are simply exhausted, or you get to a point where you are curious, like maybe I can reach out to people. Maybe I can let people love me. Maybe I can ask for help, and start to gain evidence and gather evidence that is actually making you a better human and having really beautiful connections with people.
Yes. And yes, being someone that is, well, what's the difference between being independent and then being hyper independent? Is it a matter of control? Is that the distinction? Would you say?
I would have the distinction be hyper independence looks like you. So using your example would be a good one for that. So something happens, your parent becomes ill and you are in the hospital and you are at that point where you do need someone to come and sit with you, and you don't make the phone call because you are afraid of seeming weak. You are afraid of, because many women have engineered their life to be sort of this pillar of strength. And they are validated from that. They feel that they gather they esteem themselves through it and gather their worthiness from it. So anything less than that would feel like it's sort of toppling all down. So that's where I would make the distinction. It's like when you do truly need people, where we all get to that place where we need people, and you decide that it's a no.
Okay. And then, so that brings me into the whole control piece too. I don't know if I'm necessarily this controlling person, like everything must go my way or else. And so tell me what that looks like and why this habit is not good for us.
Control, I think, I think I talk about this in the book a little bit, that control can be a good thing. Controlling people tend to be really great leaders. If you are in a corporate setting, you probably want somebody who has a good handle on control. You want them on your team. And you don't want someone like, wishy-washy or loosey-goosey, just like, oh yeah, whatever. And again, you'll find leaders who really have a handle on control. So personally, what control looked like in my life was the massive amounts of discomfort I had, that I did not have a guaranteed outcome around something. So I wanted to control other people. People that struggle with control really have a hard time letting people make their own choices and allowing people the dignity of their own process. They want people to know that, their way is the best way if they would just listen to them. I know this happens a lot in parenting. And I'm talking, like, for instance, I'm thinking of a client that I have right now who has adult children and they're in their early 20s. And she's really struggling to let go of and stop micromanaging. And I also, I don't know if anyone listening can relate to this, but the whole topic around codependence, and codependence is when you become obsessed with someone else's behavior and trying to control that person. And that's where it gets wacky, for lack of a better word. And really starts to, you end up, when you struggle that much with control, it ends up taking over your life, where most of us want peace and freedom from it and just relief from that. And we tend to obsess. And I say we because, control is one of the things that I still struggle with. I got the word surrender tattooed on my arm because it's something that I need to remind myself. People that also struggle with control have a hard time with their own emotions and trusting their own bodies and trusting any kind of process and things like that. They want that guarantee.
Mm. And I mean, what do you do? What does this create when you have someone that is so controlling? Now, I think growing up for me, and maybe it was just to be a child of a very, I don't know if you want to say controlling, strict father is that, I don't know if that's the same. Well, yeah, he would tell me what to do. And so now as an adult, I can't stand people tell me what to do. It's one of the reasons why I'm an entrepreneur, because I don't like being told what to do.
Right.
On any level. And so if I go on a date with someone and I can sense, it's like I can taste it and smell control.
Oh, wow. I believe it.
And then I'm like, no. You are not the boss of me. And then I'm out, and then I'm gone because there's no way that anybody could. Freedom is like my ultimate goal in life. Freedom from, I don't know, just in general, being able to go anywhere at any point with anyone and do and create things that I want. And so if someone were to have control, it's like they're almost telling me, no, you can't. And that to me is something that's, so I run from that. Definitely. And so you had said something in the book about control is really when someone is actually feeling fear. So let's talk about that.
I think that it circles back to what I was saying around wanting, and I want to make the distinction before I say that, because I do think that in relationships, of course, like I'm with you. I don't want to be with somebody who feels the need to control me. Relationships are about compromise, and sometimes relationships are about boundaries. And that might be another conversation, the difference between setting a boundary and trying to control someone. I get that question a lot. So, but going back to what you were saying, I think it is a matter of, now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, Margaret. Later in the day for me.
It was about
fear. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. It goes back to wanting that guaranteed outcome. So for instance, people who really struggle with control tend to avoid setting boundaries or having hard conversations because they are very, very attached to the outcome. Success to them means, well, if this person does what I say, or if this person compromises and is flexible to what I want, then that's a successful outcome. Whereas I have had to learn, and I teach clients this, a successful outcome is you speaking your truth and maybe making a request of someone and having that conversation with grace and dignity and honesty. And that's the win, is you showing up, being able to explain yourself in the way that you want to, and being proud of how you showed up in that hard conversation, instead of putting all of the success on the outcome going your way. So it's that fear of not being right. It's that fear of not having to grapple with something that they can't handle, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. And so have you seen, if you have witnessed people who tend to be controlling, can they become people that aren't controlling? Is that a hard shift?
Yeah, it is a hard shift. And that is what I talk in the introduction. Like all of these behaviors that I talk about in the book aren't about, like, I don't want the win for people to be focused on, here's 14 things that you're doing wrong. You need to change them and be a different person. I want the focus to be on, here's 14 things that most of us are doing in our life because it's what we know. Let's be really aware of when we're doing them and when they don't feel good so that we can choose something that actually feels better and is more in alignment with who we are.
Right.
So, and I want to say that because I think a lot of self-help can feel like you're doing it wrong.
Right.
And so I'm thinking of one client I have in particular who has really struggled with chronic control, and she still struggles with it somewhat. But again, she's able to catch herself very quickly when she finds herself obsessing over a coworker who just doesn't get it, or, she's like trying to micromanage. So it's really learning the dance, for lack of a better word, of letting go and surrendering and giving people space to do things their way and to learn things their way. Honestly, Margaret, like one of the things that has taught me so much about letting go of control is teaching my children skills. You want to get some patience and let go of control. Try showing a 6-year-old how to crack an egg without making a giant mess.
Right.
It's like, no, let me just do it. Let's do it my way. Okay. Oh my God. And it's things like that where I ask myself questions like, okay, just what if it's not that big of a deal? It's just not that big of a deal. Just, and simple things like counting and breathing. And it's really, I don't know. Like I when I really sit back and think about it, I have to ask myself, like, is my way really the best way? Like, how do I know that my way is the best way?
Right.
So to answer your question, I think that people can become way less controlling. Yes.
Okay. Here's another topic that other people have written about and that I've just been seeing recently so much. And that's about giving zero fucks.
I knew you were going to say that. I love it.
It is something that there's definitely a part of me that's like, oh yeah, like I've run out of zero fucks. And so I don't even have any more to give for such and such and such and such, whatever it is. And there's also something that's like, even if I'm about to, I don't know, I'm getting dressed for something and, okay, I'll give an example. So I work at an urgent care part-time, and they were having a Christmas party, and they only ever see me in scrubs and a lab coat. And I love when I go out, I wear heels, I wear like some really, pants will be like tight or skinny jeans or something, somewhat form-fitting. And I was like, I can't wear these pants because what they're going to think, they're going to think that I'm like I don't know what, but maybe it's a little too much. And then I was like, oh, I don't give a fuck what they think. Yeah. Because I'm just going to rock what I love and what what makes me feel good. And I wore what I wanted. But that thought definitely came into mind. And then I was like, nope, not caring what they think. And I'm doing what I want to do. And then I showed up, and then everyone was like, oh my God, do you dress like this a lot? Or, oh my God, you look so different out of your scrubs. Because you can't really see anyone's body. Yeah. When you're wearing big, baggy scrubs. Anyway, so I just wanted to preface what you're about to say with the fact that I think pretty often in my mind, I'm like, no, could give a fuck about what they think or whatever, but not in a malicious way, of course, but in a way that I'm like, no, I'm not going to really care what they think because it's not really their life or their body. So I'm just going to do it. So so let's hear what you have to say.
I love that story too, and I am with you. I think the zero fucks goes with situations like that, where you're worried about what people are going to think and what you're going to wear. And like those types of things you should give zero fucks about. And the reason I wrote the chapter was because, like you were saying, it's sort of this phenomenon, this trend of inspirational memes. And I think even Bethany Frankel has like a whole line. I got a nasty email from somebody saying like, why are you dissing on Bethany Frankel? I was like, what? Wait a minute. I didn't even know she had that. And so I can get on board with the sentiment of like what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So where I think this goes awry is when people see this kind of advice and they think that they should give zero fucks about everything. And it's fueling disconnection. And what my whole point of that chapter is that I think there's like this spectrum. And I describe this in the book. So I think on one side, there's the people who give a lot of fucks about what everybody thinks. So it's the woman who's at home who decides not to wear those skinny jeans to the party because she's worried about what people are going to think and what they're going to say. And, the people pleasers and approval seekers of the world.
Right.
And then then those people see this advice and they're like, oh, I should not care at all. And really, there's no one on who can really not care about what anybody thinks. And unless they have a mental illness where they are just not capable.
Right.
It's true. Like where they just,
it's true.
Kind of
so true. Yeah.
So what I'm asking is like, let's all try to give medium fucks. And this is about
that's good.
caring what the right people think of your opinion, your art. And this list is probably very, very short. And it might vary depending on the part of your life. So with work, it might be like a couple of people. With your creative endeavors, it might be a couple of other people. I mean, these are mentors and then also not that you have to take those people's advice or opinions to heart. It's just that you listen to them. And again, I saw this happening in this runaway train of giving zero fucks. And at first I was like, yeah. And then I thought about it and I'm like, wait a minute. And I think it also puts pressure on people like, oh, we have to really not care what anyone thinks, but yet we care a lot. So that's why I just wanted to start the conversation around it too.
Because I will tell you, so I wore what I wanted to wear, but even when I got there, I was like, is this still okay? I was still wondering. I mean, there was still something lingering in the back of my head. And then I was like, okay, whatever. So giving medium fucks is good because you're not going to be totally insensitive to something, whatever's going on around you. I think that, there's definitely a degree to which we should be. But I think there may be some things where we really should just be like, totally don't give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and a lot of people are like, well, what if my mom isn't on that list? And I'm like, that's okay. It's like you can still have a relationship with these people, but it's about not taking things to heart. Like I think like my audience, if I have said something offensive on my podcast and they're telling me like, how crappy would it if I was like, I don't give zero fucks about what you say. This is my podcast. I'm going to say what I want to say. Like,
right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
So I think it matters, but it's also about finding who that group of people are that do matter.
Yes. I do think that there are some big things that, like if someone wanted to pursue something that they were so passionate about, but they were like, no, I can't. I mean, what would people think? What do people think if, I went to law school and now I want to write, or I went to law school or medical school or whatever, but what I really want to do is this. Like, what would people think? Like, I can't do that. And so I think that there's a degree of like, okay, you really shouldn't care what people think about that because they're not really living your life or paying your bills or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And anytime I hear that question, or if I say it myself, even I'm still guilty of saying it myself sometimes, I want to know, okay, who are, when you say people, who are they?
Right.
Define who they are.
Right.
And you also hear people say, what will everyone think? Or everyone will think I'm stupid. I'm like, everyone, literally everyone. And I think that if you can kind of hack into that and dig a little deeper on who exactly are you talking about? Is it the committee in your head that's saying that?
Right.
Is it old beliefs, like maybe old religious beliefs or family of origin stuff that tells you that you can't do that? Is it just fear in general? That's where the juicy stuff happens, is really nailing that down.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's definitely been instances where I've made huge decisions, and I've definitely been like, what are people going to think? And let's take my divorce, for example. I was literally married. I haven't even talked about this publicly, really. I mean, to my friends. I was literally married for, I count the months, I don't know, less than 6 months. Okay. The shit hit the fan, and I was like, I don't know who this person is. And so we were definitely like, this isn't going to work. And definitely my first thought was like, oh my God, what are people going to think? And then I'm like, first of all, people are not here. And in my home, with us during these conversations and the issues, the huge issues that had come up, like, you know what? It doesn't actually matter what anybody thinks. Like, I was so firm on that because I definitely could have stayed in that and been very unhappy and stayed for the sole purpose of, oh my God. And I had so much family that like came in from Europe to attend this wedding. And oh my God, you know, what are they going to think? Like, I'm so embarrassed, or I'm so ashamed, or whatever it was that I was thinking at the time. And I literally, and I know that some people probably stay.
A lot of people stay.
Because they're like, well, people think, and da da da. And I was like, no, like I literally had the thought, it came in and it was gone in. I did not allow that thought to stick around.
Okay. I love that you tell the story because it really does bring us full circle back to where we started around talking to your people and your sisterhood. So I think it's absolutely 1,000% normal that you were feeling those feelings. I think anybody would feel embarrassed or ashamed, or that fear of what are people going to think, feeling guilty for having these people spent all the money, et cetera, et cetera. And you can feel that and still make the decision to go. That is when you make the phone call to those women and say, I am terrified to start making these phone calls or to send out the emails, and or where people are going to start finding out that we're splitting up.
Yeah.
I need your help to get through this. That's it. That's all you need to do.
Right.
And I say that's all you need to do, you know, very flippantly, like it's totally no big deal. But I know there's people listening who are like,
right. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's important. That is what brings us love and connection and intimacy, which is what we all really want at the end of the day. That's what we're all really, really craving.
Yeah. So true. So true. So, oh my gosh, this is such a great conversation. Let me see if I had any other questions. Those are huge for me because I'm like, oh my God, I have some of these habits, and I know that there's like two sides to it. So I totally wanted to break it down a little more and see how there's definitely negatives to it and some positives and ways that we can kind of meet in the middle with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, when is this book, when it's coming out? Tell us a little bit more, and how can people find you?
So it's officially in bookstores January 2nd, and it's available for pre-order anywhere online before that. And I'm at most handles on social media at Your Kick-Ass Life. And I'm also doing a 4-week free book club /study for people, because I mean, raise your hand if you've ever bought a self-help book and never read it or bought it and read it and not really digested anything. And I didn't want that for people. I wanted to give people the space where I can guide them and support them and answer any questions that they have. And that's over at yourkickasslife.com /HTSFLS, which is an acronym for the book, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And it's free if you purchase the book, either on audiobook or Kindle, however you want to buy it.
And then you're on Facebook and Instagram?
I'm on Instagram. Instagram's probably my favorite. That's where I talk to people
It
the
is
most.
mine too. Yeah.
I love Instagram. Oh my gosh, I have to follow you then. Okay, I love Instagram and Facebook. Yes, and I do Facebook Live videos every Thursday at noon Eastern time where I'm talking about concepts from the book and just personal development in general.
Oh, cool. Okay, let me see that. Well, when is that again? Live videos on Facebook when?
Thursdays at noon. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your Instagram, your handle is what?
Is Your Kick-Ass Life.
Oh, okay. Your Kick-Ass Life. Okay.
Yeah, and same with Facebook. It's Your Kick-Ass Life with Andrea Owen.
All right. Well, listen, congratulations on your book. It's, when I was going through it, I'm like, oh, yes, I know these habits. But I think we can all kind of learn from, our discussion today and know that there is no, like what you were saying in the beginning, like, it's not like you must stop these things because if not, you're a horrible person. But to recognize them when they come up, I think
it's
that's
about
really
self-awareness.
Totally. All right. Well, Andrea, let's see. I've got 3 quick questions that I ask all of my listeners.
Okay.
So let's see. The first one, curious, what is currently at your bedside right now?
You know what I'm reading? I'm reading Stephen King's It. And it is so scary. And it is so long. It's like over 1,100 pages.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I love fiction. I love novels.
Is it really that scary?
I
mean, I haven't actually read something scary in a very, very long time.
Here's why it's scary for me. It's kind of embarrassing. I have a drain phobia, and any kind of drain, sewers, pool drains, shower drains, they scare the crap out of me. And this book revolves around a drainage system in this small town. And there's, Pennywise the clown and all these different scary things. And so the clowns don't scare me. It's the sewer that scares me.
Oh, okay.
And at the end they go down there and I'm like, no, don't do it. So yeah, that's why it's scary. I have read scarier from Stephen King. Salem's Lot made me afraid of vampires when I was never afraid of vampires before that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Let's see. What is one of your favorite apps on your phone?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. Let me grab it and I'll look. And my daughter and I have a lot of fun with Snapchat filters, and that's just fun. And so I would have to say probably Goodreads, because it allows me to organize all of my books, the books I've read, and it's like a social media type of thing where you can see all your friends from other social media channels and then see what they're reading or what they have read and how they have rated them.
Cool.
So I found a lot of good books that way. Yeah, it's goodreads.com. It's a website too, but they have an app, and that's how like when I go to, because I stopped buying a lot of books because I just was getting to be too much. So I check them out from the library, like the library, who knew? And so now when I go to the library, I can just easily pull up the app and look for books.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Okay. And what is one of your biggest indulgences? Something that you don't mind spending a lot of money on?
Oh my gosh, it has to be my hair. I spend a lot of money color and cut every 5 or 6 weeks, and also expensive shampoo and conditioner and other products and tools. It's all about the hair tools and the hair products.
Nice. So you must be like, are you just like rocking rocking good hair day all the time?
I am one of those people that people can't stand it a little bit because I have really manageable hair. So even I can go to bed with wet hair, and it helps if I put it in a ponytail and wake up the next day and like throw a little bit of product in it, and it looks like I walked out of a salon some days. Like,
wow,
hate me over
wow.
it. I know, it's just one of those things. My best friend says, Andrea, your whole life could be falling apart and you will always have great hair. I also started going gray when I was 25. And I'm 42 now. And I've been thinking about letting all my gray grow out, which is only about 30 or 35% right now. But I talked about it a lot on my podcast for a while. It was a really interesting conversation with my listeners, but I decided I wasn't ready yet. I'm too vain. Just not ready. So I still have it colored.
What is your favorite like shampoo conditioner product?
I go back and forth. I love the Biolage line.
Uh-huh.
And I love the Matrix line. And
Okay.
because I have naturally wavy hair, and I think you do too, a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey to try to find the right product that it's not crunchy. So I think it's TG, or is it Catwalk? They make a product called Curls Rock, and I
Oh,
like that a
okay.
lot. Hmm.
I use Oribe. Have you ever tried them?
Haven't, but I'm going to write it down.
I love their stuff.
And also, I like Lush makes a sea salt spray that works really well. I've tried a couple that
Ooh.
crap,
Yeah.
but I really like Lush's. It smells really good, and I think it works well.
Oh, nice. Nice. All right. I got to write that down. All
Yeah.
right. All right, Andrea, thank you so much for, just diving us into some of these things, because I know a lot of the women that listen are so strong, we're so powerful, we're so ambitious, we're
Yeah.
so driven that I think that we definitely can fall into some of these habits very easily. And I mean, I definitely admitted to the ones that are, definitely my big ones. So thank you so much for, helping us be just a little bit more aware of our thoughts and our actions. And good luck on the book launch. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. I just want to say one quick thing to what you
Yeah.
just said. And I don't, again, I just want to underscore, like, I am that woman too. And I think that I don't want anyone to change that. I just I want the win to be for them to pay attention to where it's negatively affecting their life, where they're shutting people out, and where it's out of alignment with their values. And there's a whole chapter in the book about values and what they actually look like. So that's what I want the win for people to be. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Andrea Owen. For all the show notes and to learn more about her and her book, head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 63. If you're not following me on Instagram, head on over to Margaret Romero. And if you have been loving these interviews and my wisdom for the weekend, if you can head on over to iTunes and leave a review, that would make my week. Much love to you all. See you all next week. Take care. Bye for now.